Whew. Hold on, audience. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, Global Happiness Specialist, Inner Peace Practitioner, Oracle, but most importantly, a student. Ongoing student. It's never ending. The class is never over until it's over. Whew. I was off a week in Oregon, in one of my favorite places in the whole world, Roseburg, Oregon. What does that say? Hold on. What? Okay, I'm getting messages here. What was that message? Okay, all right. Anyway, you can find me live. If you want to call in and speak with me, you can ask a question. The number to call in is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. And if you're listening on Noom Vibe, of course, just ask to join the stage or come up to the stage. I love questions. I also love when people don't agree. The different perspective is getting a different perspective is very, very helpful. It expands your consciousness, just a difference of perspectives. And I practice. I know I'm just getting. I'm the cart before the horse. I'm practicing finding more than one perspective in any specific challenge or any event. And when I do practice that finding another perspective, it's an instant energy shift. But let me just get back and just give an introduction. People are finding me all over. I don't know where. Welcome to all new listeners, new audience, happiness specialist. Who the hell does she think she is? It's impossible. Happy. I don't even like that word, happy. I prefer the word joy. I hear that so much. But let me just be very clear. It is, when I say happiness, I'm talking about a personal vibration, a personal energy that is rooted in contentment, rooted in peace, rooted in the vibration of neutrality, staying neutral, not putting a judgment, good, bad, happy, sad. It's a neutral vibration of contentment. So it doesn't matter what's thrown at me. The stories don't matter. It's how to maintain an energy of contentment at all times. Is that even possible? Yes. It is. Again, if you want to speak with me live, the number to call in is area code 646-564-9619. And if you want to watch me live, I am live on YouTube. Hi to all the viewers. Hi to all the 0 viewers. Hello, 0 viewers. And that's another thing. When I say happiness, the good news is this contentment, this vibration of contentment is a practice. The vibration of inner peace is a practice. Happiness is a practice skill. And all I do on this show, Reality Spirituality, the truth about practice, the truth about happiness, is just sharing what to practice and what to eliminate. Oh, of course I don't have any water. Of course. Of course, there's no water. It's in the other room. Should I get up and get a bottle of water? Yes, I will. Don't go anywhere. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I'm coming back. She's back. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, you know, I can't do the show without water because I'm coughing and clearing the throat. Reality, spirituality. So let me just get back to happiness is a practice skill. And again, the good news is anyone can practice, but the challenge comes from, the problem comes from making that commitment. In this world, there are a lot more things that the program says are more important. But one of the studies that I like to cite, and I cite it all the time, especially at the beginning of the show, is there was a hospice nurse, she's still around, a hospice nurse, her name is Bronnie Ware, and she interviewed her patients who had a limited amount of time to live. And I don't know about you, but if somebody's has one foot in the grave, I'm going to listen to everything they say about what they've learned. And in fact, I remember volunteering at one senior center when I was in California. And I asked her, I said, well, what are your regrets? This is one of the people that were staying in the facility. And she says, I regret that I don't have a car, that I can't drive anymore. Why is that? Because then I would visit my daughter more often. She doesn't drive to see me. I would visit her more often. But let's get back to the study. The 5 most common regrets of the dying. Number 1, I wish I would have pursued my dreams and aspirations and not the life others expected of me. Number 2, I wish I didn't work so hard. I don't have that problem. Number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings and speak my mind. Number 4, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. Coincidentally, there are only 2 people that I am in touch with. Well, no, I'm going to say 3. No, 3, but regularly in touch with high school people. Yeah, just 3. And so what I say is, people come and go, and there's a reason for someone to be in my life, in your life. And as soon as that reason is gone, guess what? They're not there either. And it's no attaching a story to it. It's just that sometimes energy is compatible and sometimes it's not. Number 5, I wish I would have let myself be happier. This happiness, this ability to vibrate contentment, this ability to live in the present moment is very powerful when practiced. And for me, it's an ongoing, continual practice. That's my whole agenda. That's my intention agenda, and that's what I share with anyone who is interested in listening. The book that I published, listen to that, it's been 7 years. It's going to be published. Now it's published. I'm holding it up. It's called, there it is, Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth, which is on Amazon, Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth. And there it is. And in this book, I list 55 plus 1, 55 program behaviors that have been proven research to subtract from your happiness, from your contentment. And there's 3 levels. There's 3 levels to each one of those. There's 3 sections, level 1, level 2, level 3. And if you can imagine level 3, let's see if I can find some level 3s. Here they are, right here. Level 3, seatbelt time. Giving power to words. Oh, but words are powerful. Yes, innately words are not powerful. So if you are allowing a word to either take you out, either trigger you, push your buttons, have some kind of reaction to a word, It's a program. You didn't have that when you popped out of the womb. You didn't have this word is powerful, this word can affect me, this word can offend me. You didn't have any of that. So innately, words are not powerful. Can you imagine? Can you imagine not having any word bother you, irritate you, annoy you, offend you? Well, that's where I am. Only because of the practice and only because of the commitment. When I say commitment to happiness, it is ongoing. It is a constant, oh my gosh, and this is the worst. It's a constant check-in with the person in the mirror. It's a constant, how can I navigate through this life without being triggered? Is that possible? Yes, with practice. Let me get back to the introduction. So when I say happiness is a practice skill, contentment is a practice skill, the practice is reverting back to who you were when you were born, the first 6 months, the first year, the first 2 years, maybe even 3 years. Remember when you used to live in the present moment? Remember when no one could say anything? Remember when you didn't judge yourself? Remember when you didn't worry? Remember when there was no fear? What do infants have? 2 fears, the fear of falling, and what's the other one? Fear of falling, loud noises. Remember when you didn't care about being right? All of these programmed behaviors subtract from your contentment. Let me get to today's show, because it's, you can't, even though I don't watch the news, they're on YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube channels and a lot of people that I follow. One is Moji, and I talked about Moji before. If you don't know or you haven't listened to this spiritual teacher, Mooji, and I just discovered him a few months ago, maybe 3 months, 4 months at the most. This man, and a lot of his videos are from years ago. This man has taught me, pointed out that either I am identifying with my person, my ego, the lower consciousness, my mind, or I am identifying with who I really am, which is the presence, a presence. And that's ongoing also, and it's a practice. But let me get back to today's topic. And again, if you want to speak with me live, the number to call in is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. And just press the number 1. And if you want to speak with me live on New Vibe, you know what to do. Ask to join the stage. Oh, and I'm also live on YouTube if you want to. Hey, hello. Okay. Whose side are you on? And it doesn't take a genius to figure out what I'm talking about, especially if you're living in the United States. If you're living in another country, I have people that listen to the show from other countries. I'm sure the spectacle, the circus that is happening with this election coming up is more than entertainment. How's that? When I say that I speak about myself a lot, and that is the reason for that is just sharing the journey, sharing the growth, sharing the shift of perspectives. And in what was it, 2020, the election in 2020, I'm definitely not the person that I was then. Let me be very clear. Yes, I do have scratch that. Yes, my person has a preference. Yes, my person, and I'm talking about the person, Rebecca L. Norrington, you know, the person that has an identity and has a name, that the human definitely has a preference of who or what I think is going to be the best. You hear this? Now listen to the story. The best for the country. Okay, this is. I'm just being very, very transparent here. But since 2020 and all that happened to 2024, there was the focus, the involvement, the thoughts, the attached stories, the all of it was overwhelming to my vibration of contentment. In fact, thinking about an election or thinking about politics automatically, and it's on the list. Let me see if it is on the list. Well, it is on the list, meaning it is on the list of trying to or focusing on things that I have no control over. If I don't have control over an outcome, I have control over outcome, which I don't, especially if something like an election. No control and no control over people back and forth and the arguments. And what I've learned about self is if I hate or if I disdain or if I can't stand a particular, and it doesn't even have to be politics, a particular person, especially if I don't know them, a particular person, a particular side, us against them. Remember the book, The Sneetches? Remember that book by Dr. Seuss? It was all about, and this is the same lesson. It was all about having a side. And in the Dr. Seuss book, The Sneetches, there were Sneetches that had stars upon bars, stars upon their belly, and there were Sneetches that didn't have the stars. And so inevitably, the Sneetches that had the stars, or the Sneetches that didn't have the stars, were jealous of the Sneetches with stars. And sure enough, Mr. McBean, I should have my book. Where is it? Oh, I do have it. It's in the other room. I already got my water. I'm not going to leave you again. I'm not going to abandon you again. I already have my water. So, but what happened in that story is back and forth and looking at the other side and thinking something was wrong with them, just like this political welcome YouTube, just like this political situation is now. Looking at the other side, and there is so much, from what I view, there is so much hatred. And I remember when I was in Roseburg last week, and I was standing in line, and I'm not even going to say which party it was, because that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which party. What matters is the behavior. So I remember standing in line, and the lady behind me, oh, she was just going on and on and on about that presidential debate. And I know that 4 years ago, I would have turned around and said something. I would have turned around and said something to her to solidify what I thought, what I believed, what I thought was right. And it happened again. It happened a week ago. And believe me when I say that it has been a process. It's been 3 years, 2-3 years of letting go of what I used to believe was so important. The truth is, this country, United States of America, has a destiny just like all of us. All of us are living out our destiny, and this country will live out its destiny. And to even get to another level, Everything is in order. That's what I practice believing and trusting and knowing that everything is in order, regardless of what my little pea brain, my little ego says. Everything is in order. So whose side are you on? This whole having a side, it's about divide and conquer, meaning that we are more alike than we are different. I don't care what side you choose. People are more alike with family issues, the children issues, money, relationships, more alike. So this dividing and this despising and this hatred for the other side, you can continue to march, vote, protest, or proclaim on the top of the mountain. You can still do that, but that attachment to this is right and they are, or I am right and they are wrong, can't they see it? I can't do that anymore. I just can't do it. I can still participate, but the attachment to an outcome, attachment to an outcome and thinking that, I'm shaking my head right to left, thinking that there is a better outcome if A, B, or C happens. It's all coming from the person. It's all coming from my ego. It's all coming from the mind, thinking that something is out of order, thinking that something is preferred. Choosing a side subtracts from your happiness. Choosing any side, not even a political, forget having a side, even a preference of weather. I prefer the heat. I prefer the cold. I'm living in Vegas, where it's now, we've been having a heat wave for the last month, and now it's cool. It got down to 100 today, but by the end of the week, it's going to be 109, 110. And even having a preference of weather subtracts. The practice is to accept. The practice is to accept and surrender to everything that is on every experience that is unfolding, every present moment. And it's not easy. It's one of the last programs that I am breaking free of. When I was younger, I was raised in a household that, oh yes, everybody had to vote the same. And then when I was a little bit older, in my 20s, or no, not even my 20s, maybe my 30s, it was more information, and now I can vote differently than how my parents voted. And then after a few more votes and decades, to this point now, 2024, oh yeah, the voting, fine. Yeah, I can vote. But thinking that one side is better, as opposed to surrendering, every country has a destiny, from you name it. And it's that acceptance, and I'm only speaking for myself, it's that acceptance of that to another level. But what I do know is when I look at another side and make a judgment, especially a judgment about how wrong they are, my vibration shifts. My energy, consciousness, the vibration shifts, and it doesn't go higher. The vibration is lowered. The consciousness is lowered. By the way, if you want to speak with me live, the number to call in is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. And if you want to speak with me live on Noom, I've just asked to join the stage. Ask guests to join. All are welcome, especially people that don't agree. Again, let me just reiterate. The agenda, the intention is to vibrate contentment. Whatever I am vibrating and whatever you are vibrating, my dear audience, is my contribution to this planet. If I'm vibrating anger, hate, for someone else, in fact, listen to this. One of my Facebook, in fact, their family. And I was on their page, and the family member said, I can't do any more. I can't explain it anymore. I can't. If you don't get it, if you don't get how evil, fill in the blank, this site is, I'm done. I'm through. I don't want to talk to anybody that's on the other side. I have no patience. I have no time, no love, no understanding for the other side. I used to be just like that. Just like that. In fact, I remember it started with the OJ trial. And anyone, what was it? It was in the 90s. How many years ago was that? A lot. And it started with, if anybody doesn't believe that OJ Simpson was guilty, I had no time for them. They were, if you could see me on YouTube, they were out of the picture. Goodbye. Until now, if I feel any kind of way that is lack of understanding, lack of compassion, hate, I keep saying hate or disdain because I already know. I'm talking about, for me, what I used to feel. I can't do it anymore. And anybody that does have a side, and I spoke about this a week ago on my son's show. My son and I do a show every Saturday morning. It's called Mother and Son Making Sense Out of Nonsense, plus more. And so I talked about it on that show, that anyone that chooses a side is asleep. Anyone that has a side, chooses a side, is programmed, and they are asleep. Walking, talking, sleepwalking. They are sleepwalking. The sun shines on the serial killer and the Pope. You can have a side, but there is an attachment to having a side that takes you to another, that will affect your personal vibration, that will affect your energy. And you know it because you can feel it. I get a lot of pushback on this, and I'm fine with it. You can do with this information as you want. But if you are serious about vibrating, and I'm 68 right now, 68, I have a limited amount of time left. I'm in the fourth quarter, and they've already shown commercials. I'm in the fourth quarter of my life, of my human life, and I'm done. I'm done. I'm over allowing my ego to attach itself to a side, to attach itself, and it also even goes to having a sports team. It's the same thing, having a side. So, and if you follow I don't care, basketball, football, baseball, and you are so attached to an outcome and your team loses, how does that feel energetically? Oh, I had to find a solution for that. I don't know. I've shared it before, but I'm going to share it again. How did I find a solution to having a preference of a team? It's the same thing. Football team, baseball, basketball team, political team. It's the same thing. Having that fervor for the teeth in, the teeth in, having a fervor for a certain side. I had to find a solution because when my team usually didn't lose though. I always root for good teams. I don't root for losers. Never rooting for Dallas. Sorry about that, Dallas. Even though I like the players, I'm not rooting for losers. That's right, I said it. So my team was usually winning. It was New England Patriots, and I got Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady. So now I've got to find another team because Bill Belichick left the New England, and he's such a smart coach. I mean, genius of a coach. And then, of course, the Tom Brady thing. So I followed him when he went to Tampa. But the point is this. Too much information. This is supposed to be about choosing a side. The solution is what I do when I do watch sports, and I do have a team. I'm invested in a team. I tape the show. I tape the whole show. I tape the game, and I find out, and this is going to sound crazy, but she's crazy. I tape the game, and then after it's over, I find out who won. And if the team that I prefer didn't win, guess what? There's no need to watch the game. It's genius. No need to watch the game, no need to go up and down, no need to have my energy up and down. And well, that's part of life. It's normal. You're robbing yourself of the joy. Yeah, rude. Okay, I get it. I've heard it all. I am the global leading happiness specialist. And that means I hold myself to a higher standard of how do I experience more contentment before I breathe my last breath? How do I do that? How do I experience more contentment before I breathe my last breath? That's number one for me. It's not about accomplishing anything that is on the human side. It's about accomplishing an energy, accomplishing a vibration that is going to remain, that is going to be my foundation. And so, yes, I'm not watching any live sports show if I have a preference. Not at all. I used to. So let's get back to this choosing a side subtracts from happiness. And can you feel that, especially if this thing called happiness or contentment is important to you? Especially if it's important to you. And if it's not important, that's okay too. But whatever you are vibrating is your contribution. So if you are angry, if you are hateful, if you are judging the other side because they're not like you or they're not there for whatever, come on, there's a litany of reasons. It's not an easy practice. It's not. It's the only way, it's the only perspective, it's the only way that I know how to maintain the happiness, how to maintain feeling balanced, how to maintain feeling chill. Not up, not down, chill. Now, I get this a lot. Well, golly, Rebecca, what a dull life. You can't even get excited. You can't cheer. You can't. No, I get excited plenty. I have moments throughout the day where something happens in the moment. Oh, I'm doing cartwheels, but I'm not attaching my cartwheels to a team or a political side. I've done it for decades. It's old. It's over. Next, practice. If there's anybody that's on New Vibe that wants to ask to join the stage, and if you are, let's see, we have somebody in the queue. If you are in the queue, just press the number 1 and you can speak with me live. But come on. If not, the show is wrapping up. Let me recap. The recap is choosing a side, having a side means that you're programmed and you're asleep. Number 2, having a side, choosing a side is guaranteed that you're going to go up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. That's a guarantee. Number 3, the programming is so deep that I used to believe I knew I was right. There is no other way to think other than the way I'm thinking. There is no other perspective but my own perspective. And you know who's in charge of that thought? You know who comes up with there is no perspective, no other perspective? It's all ego. The ego doesn't want to hear another perspective. The human person doesn't want to hear another perspective. No. The ego wants me to stay stuck in believing everything, all the stories and all the thoughts. And if it's authored by the ego, drafted by the ego, guess what? I can know without a doubt, that its intention is not my betterment. That intention is not for me to feel any kind of contentment. In fact, that's one of the characteristics of the ego, is to be discontented with everything. Whose side are you on? Again, vote, protest, march, but choosing or having an attachment to an outcome and vilifying the other side, vilifying them, which is what I used to always do. Not even the time of day. Oh, you're one of those sneeches that doesn't have a star. I didn't even finish that story. So the sneeches, one group of sneeches had stars, and the other sneeches didn't have stars. And then, of course, McBean came around as this mad scientist, and he put all the sneeches that didn't have stars into this machine, and boom, they popped out with stars on their bellies. And now the other sneeches, the ones that had stars on their bellies already, oh, we don't want to be like them. Now they're just like us. We need to get these stars taken off. And it was a vicious cycle, and they got their stars taken off. Now we got mix-ups, sneeches putting stars on, taking stars off, wanting to be in this group, out of the group, and this group think, just ready for a crash into a brick wall with the group think. But back to the sneeches, now they got to a point they were taking the stars off, putting the stars on. Now they didn't remember who they were. It comes back to, here we go. This is another one, seatbelts. And this is not easy. We're all the same. We're all one. Oh, what? We're all one? How could that be? I'm not that person across the street. I'm not that person that thinks fill in the blank. That's not me. Newsflash, we all are part of the one. We all are consciousness having a human experience. We all are the same. Oh, stab me now, hurt me now, kill me now. The same. And that's a practice. That's a practice that is not easy, but it is the truth. You know it. I know it. But getting there and practicing it and maintaining that practice, I always have something to do. Always. I'm never bored. This self-awareness and growing and expanding, there's always something to do. Let me share with you some of the program behaviors that subtract from inner peace, contentment, and happiness. And these are level 3. Or should it go level 2? You know what? I'm going to stay with level 2. Level 1 are for the civilians. Level 2. These program behaviors that I'm going to read off, which, by the way, are in my latest book, which is on Amazon, Lulu, Barnes & Noble, Program for Unhappiness. Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth. I have to say I love the cover. So this is level 2, program behaviors. You ready? Noticing what someone else is doing. That includes who they're voting for. Number 2, wanting someone else to think what you think is important. Wanting someone else to think what you think is important. That's another about choosing a side. Sharing bad news. I don't know about you, but I remember my mother would always call me with the worst news. Did you hear about the mass shooting in North Carolina? Thanks, Mom. Sharing bad news. What is the point of that? Well, one of the points is, what does the humpback man want more than anything else? The humpback man doesn't want to remove his hump, and no, he doesn't want a woman with a hump. The humpback man wants you to have a hump too. So sharing bad news, all expectations subtract from your peace, contentment, and happiness. And I mean, even expecting me to have a show every Sunday morning. Attachments to a story, attachments to a preference, attachments to knowing I'm right, attachments to a perspective. There's the truth, and then there's not the truth. There's not about, there's my truth and there's your truth. No, there is the truth. The truth is gravity, you drop something, it's going to fall. That kind of truth. Living in the past, living in the future. The majority of people that I come in contact with in my daily life, it's always about the past. Yesterday. All my topics are about yesterday. I can tell you a story about yesterday. Oh, I can talk about yesterday. Yesterday. Living in the past, living in the future, all judgments. Having a judgment about someone else, you already know, subtracts. Getting embarrassed, that's kind of a fun one. Getting embarrassed. There's only one reason why people get embarrassed. There's only one reason. Does anybody know what that is? Raise your hand if you know why. There's only one reason why you get embarrassed. Number one, that's the program. That embarrassment, because you know these little babies, 6 months old, 3 months old, can put their foot in their mouth, chew on their toes, just pick in their nose and eat it. No embarrassment either. There's only two reasons that you're a program, and number two, you care what other people think. You can't be embarrassed if you could care less about what anybody thinks. Allowing the ego, this is another program behavior, allowing your ego to dictate your words and your behavior. There is a big difference between what my presence, what the presence speaks, or what the presence conveys, or what my ego has to say. And it's knowing the difference. And quite frankly, it's just being quiet. This urge to talk or fill in the space of silence, being in the same room with someone and having an urge, I need to speak, I need to talk. Silence is a practice. And unless I'm asked a question, the majority of the time I am quiet, or unless I'm on stage or speaking or doing a radio show or a podcast, which all this is, I'm quiet. There's no need to talk. And scratch that. It is a practice. I've shared this story in 2014. I went on a retreat, and it was with Michael Beckwith. He was in The Secret. What agape? Is it agape? No, it's not agape. But what is the name of his church? I don't remember, but Michael Beckwith, Bernard Beckwith. Anyway, so it was his retreat, and I remember the first day was a 3-day retreat, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I had the option when I was registering. I had the option to be quiet, to not talk. Not talk. I'd never heard of that before. What? Not talk? And I was curious, and so I took the name tag that said, "I'm quiet, silence, please." And for 3 days, and this group of people, even though it was probably about 200, maybe 150 to 200 people, we all ate together, breakfast, lunch, and dinner in this huge dining room, and nobody was talking. Nobody was talking during the dinner, the meals. It was so fascinating. 200 people not talking, including the people that were serving. Anyway, after the 3rd day, I went back to work. When I was working, and I said, I'm going to extend this. I'm going to stop talking for 40 more days, and 40 more days of silence. Now, of course, and this was when I was out in public. At home, I was talking, but I had notes. I could write notes. I could write notes on my phone in case I needed to communicate. But 40 days of silence taught me what? That scratch the you, I and you, all of us can communicate with energy. The energy is a great, in fact, the energy communicates is a lot more powerful than words. I mean, you could say a word without the energy. And in fact, this is what I hear a lot. I get this a lot. There's an experiment with snowflakes, or a water experiment, and the scientist says a lot of hate, anger, that kind of thing, to anger energy to this water crystals. I don't remember if they're water crystals, but anyway, they change shape based on the words. No, they're changing shape based on energy. It's not the word, it's the energy behind it. Okay, back to the list. Allowing your ego to dictate your words and behavior, paying attention to numbers. Paying attention to numbers. That includes bank account numbers, likes, followers. How many people are listening? I had 0 people on YouTube. Then I had 1, and they went away. Then I had 2, and they went away. It doesn't matter. I have 1 person listening. I have 1 million people listening. Numbers. The universe could care less. The universe could care less about a number. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. about a number. You think God cares about a number? I don't care what number it is either. Paying attention to numbers. Friends, how many friends do you have? Oh, I have 0 friends. I have 1 friend. I only have 1 friend. Okay, I made my point. Lack of acceptance. That's a program that subtracts. Lack of acceptance of others and their positions and how they think and why they think it. A lack of acceptance. I had that bad. I didn't accept anybody, especially if they weren't like me. Ooh, how's that? Lack of acceptance. Having an agenda. And I don't care what kind of agenda it is. Oh, I'm just trying to help. I'm just, this would be beneficial. Having an agenda subtracts from contentment. I said this earlier, having hate, disdain, dislike for another person, including yourself. So let's get back to whose side are you on? And is it a man-made side or is it universal? Is it a human preference or God's preference? Here we go. Having a sense of urgency that something needs to change now, except for real danger. I mean, if you're running away from a lion that's chasing you in the jungle, well, let's go. You have to have a sense of urgency for that. But anything else, and I had it. This has to change now. This has to change today. This has to be different. And I'm here to say, nothing needs to change until it's time to change. Nothing needs to change until it's time to change. Waiting. Oh, this is another program. Waiting for something to happen in order for me to feel good. Waiting for an event to happen so that I can shift my energy or I can feel better. I said 7 years writing this book, Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth. As soon as it was finished, as soon as it was completed, oh yeah, this is what the program, wow, what an accomplishment. Oh, I'm glad that's over. Wow, yeah. Exciting. I hear that a lot. Oh, that must be exciting, your book's out. No, it's not. It's just another moment. I'm not attaching excitement to a moment, a lasting moment. Excitement happens in a different way. So this waiting for something to happen in order to feel better or in order to feel different. Can we practice letting go of that program of waiting? Here's another one. Allowing a programmed world to define the meaning of success. It's just like a virus. Success and the buzzwords that these programmed people use. Oh, success. So you can be successful. What is success? What is successful? Or am I going to let man define that for me? I mean, quite frankly, I've said it a million times. Michael Jackson was successful. Prince was successful. Whitney Houston successful. Anthony Bourdain successful. Who else? Oh, Will Smith. That's right. You know what he said? Will Smith was interviewed in GQ magazine, November 2021, before the famous slap heard around the world. And he said, I have it. I tore it out of the book. I tore it out of the magazine. I was in the doctor's office and I tore it out. Just that one page. Where's my Will Smith? Oh, of course I don't have it ready. Where is it? Come on. I'm paraphrasing. He said, I have everything. I have money, wealth, connections, fame. By the way, you know what? I never really vibed with that. Never vibed with him I just never vibe with him. I just, so it's just compatible energy. Some people are compatible, the birds aren't compatible with alligators. It's just about compatible energy. Anyway, he said, I have everything anyone could imagine. Connections, fame, wealth. At the time, he said, loving family. But you know what? I'm not happy. Yeah, he's been searching for happiness and made it public for a long time, which is also in my book. Made it public, and there is no contentment. There is no sense of contentment when you can walk on a stage and slap somebody. There's no happiness. There's no search for contentment. So successful. What is success? Well, I'll share. Let me see one more. What is success anyway? You define, and in fact, scratch that word. Success, huh? Success is the ability to live in the present moment. Success is not resisting the experience. Success is not judging. Success is realizing there are no preferences. Success is, yes, everything is in order. Success is found. Success, this is my perspective. Success is found within. And these gurus that are, oh, you're successful. What is that? It is talk about, when I say getting triggered, people are talking about success like that is the be all and end all, having money or having titles or having a position. And I have a few titles. I have a very limited amount of money. I mean, come on. I can take a couple of vacations every year, but in that the money is an energy, and whether I have it or I don't have it has nothing to do with my vibration. And in fact, I was talking to someone a couple of weeks ago, and I said, yeah, people are buying the book, but I don't keep track of book sales. Okay, so who cares? Oh, I have 5 books that I sold. Yay, 10 books I sold. Who cares? I could care less about. And it's only with growth, because I wasn't always like this. But when I committed to and started prioritizing this contentment, it is not about any money, and no one can hold a carrot in front of me and say, I'm offering you $1 million for this contest. No, I am not motivated or moved by any amount of money. And in fact, I mentioned this years ago. If what, 500 million, oh, let's just say $1 billion that the universe would just drop on my lap. Here it is, Rebecca, here's $1 billion. But see, I can't even think about it without. Here's $1 billion, Rebecca. Revert back to who you were 10 years ago. No, keep your money. Keep it. I don't. No. This search, this game of accumulating money. And some people are really good at it, but it's not going to offer any contentment. And in fact, it's not going to offer any contentment. And in fact, the people that have the most, the billionaires, already know that it's not the money. It's not the money that equals contentment. And the last program behavior in level 2 is getting triggered, having your buttons pushed. My ego knows the carrots. My ego knows exactly what to do to get fed. The ego knows exactly what to do to be fueled, to keep it going, to stay alive. And the ego needs to stay alive at all costs, identifying with whatever it needs to identify with. And I'm here to tell you, you can feel the difference. I can feel the difference. Sorry, ego, you're getting starved today. But sometimes, sometimes I feed it. Sometimes. But no, ego, you're going to be starved today. Anyway, back to the topic. Whose side are you on? Just know that if you choose a side, you're programmed and you're asleep. Number 2, it never is going to lead to contentment. Number 3, whatever that is going to happen, it is going to happen. Number 4, the universe sign, the sun shines on the serial killer and the Pope. Letting go of the preference, letting go of looking at one side and judging it and having disdain for it. It just tells me where you are, not you, just in general, where you are in your spiritual growth. Because where I was 4 years ago, oh no, could only be one way. Not anymore. Letting go of the attachments to the stories and letting go of the attachments to an outcome. The end. The end. Anyone else? Anyone else want to chat with me before I get out of here? Anyone have a comment? Even if it's different. Even if it's not. Okay, so nobody's in the queue that wants to say, okay, all right, well, that's it. I know how to end the show. I know how to get off stage. Well, that's the end of today's show. Thank you for listening. Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the new show, Mother and Son Making Sense Out of Nonsense, plus more, is also live every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Mother and Son Making Sense Out of Nonsense, plus more. My first book, follow me on Twitter at RL Norrington. LinkedIn, my Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. YouTube channel, I've got a lot of videos coming up. Woohoo, a lot of videos. Still organizing the channel. My website is RebeccaNorrington.com. And my first book, Reality Spirituality, was self-published, The Truth About Happiness. Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, that can be found on Amazon. That was published in 2014. And my latest book, published 2 months ago, the beginning of May. Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth. Series 1 of 5, Program for Unhappiness. It's on Amazon, Lulu, Barnes & Noble. And until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who the hell you are. You are a physical extension of the universe, your conscious energy, which is always evolving, always changing. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself. By accepting yourself and where you are in every single moment, be your own best friend. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, happiness specialist, Rebecca L. Norrington. And remember, happiness, contentment are all practice skills. And I promise you, the more you practice, the more peace you're going to find. And your experience in every moment reflects on what you practice. Thank you for listening. Now let's go back to the theme song. Click this button. One of these days, I'm going to have a producer. click this, click that, turn this on, turn that off, and click. Have a conscious week. Click